Welcome to the online yoga classes at Four Directions Yoga Studio in Woodville. I'm offering these classes for free. This is the fourth Hatha yoga class online. We are here today with Betty, my yoga companion, and Betty knows a lot about being quiet and meditation and resting and enjoying life. Our classes focus on release breathing, on mindfulness, on applying mindfulness to yoga. And by that I mean we create a safe space in our own practice where we're able to feel our bodies in the postures and be aware of where we hold tension, to feel the stretch release the body in due course. I came to yoga in the early 80s from a place of anxiety and depression, and I have found it to be an amazing resource for myself through creating what I referred to before as a safe space, where I'm able to sit with how I feel in the present moment and to take care of myself, to practice self-care. So we'll start with sitting today. We can either sit on the ground as I am, or you can sit on a chair. If it's not comfortable for you to sit cross-legged on the ground, you could sit in any posture that is comfortable for you. And your eyes can be open or closed. Hands can be resting in your lap or on your knees. Feel your inhalation breath and your exhalation breath. And we'll just start by taking a few mindful breaths. Inhaling into the belly, ribs, chest, diaphragmatic breathing. And exhaling and let the belly sink back as you exhale. And then allow your body to center. You might allow it to shift to the left and to the right side slightly and back and forth. And eventually it will allow itself to center. Allow your shoulders and your neck to release. Going through the body and scanning it very briefly as we are allows us to notice places where we hold tension and to allow the tension to drop. So just take a moment, start at your head, your neck, and your shoulders. Allow them to release. Feel your back, front body, your pelvis and legs and feet, and allow them to release. Take a few breaths, inhaling again into the belly, ribs, and chest. And long, deep exhalation. If it's difficult to breathe through your nose, then breathe through your mouth. Feeling the body as it is in the present moment is a way of stopping. It's a way of stopping the busyness in our mind, the worry about the future, the thoughts about the past. We're just here now, feeling the body and the breath in the present moment. So deeply inhale into the belly, ribs, chest, and exhale. Let the belly sink back. Diaphragmatic breathing is really important because it also allows the core muscles to strengthen, but moreover, it allows our nervous system to regulate itself and to de-stress. So we're going to move from sitting, we're going to come onto all fours, onto our hands and knees. And on your hands and knees, as we exhale, you can round the spine up. And inhale, you can dip down. And exhale, you can round up and let the head drop, the neck release. And try that a few more times. Inhaling down, exhaling, rounding up, releasing the neck. Walk your hands over to the side. The hips drop back and breathe into the side ribs. Inhaling deeply, letting the head drop and neck release. Inhaling into the side of the body and exhaling. And then you can round the spine up again and dip down. You might be able to walk your hands further over and stretch again to the side. Let the head drop, release the neck. And feel here that the breath can release the body from the inside. The act of breathing can drop tension from the inner body. And then we'll walk the hands over to the other side. Sit the hips back here and stretch into the side ribs again. And breathe into the side ribs, inhaling deeply and exhaling. Coming up, walk a little further over to the side and sit back once again, dropping the head and allowing the breath to release the body from the inside. When we release with the breath, we need to stay in the postures a little longer because we're on the time of the body now. We're not on a scheduled time. We're listening to the body all the way through this. Round the spine up in the center and dip down. And then you can see about rounding the spine up from left to right and dipping down from right to left. Move in circles. And then you can move in the opposite direction. That's it, breathing deeply and then coming back to the center. We'll take the toes under and come into downward facing dog pose. You can inhale deeply and exhale, release back. You can walk the dog, you can bend the right knee and take a breath or two and let the left leg stretch. And then bend the left knee and stretch the right leg. And then coming down, we'll come into child's pose and let the head drop. Release the neck. Child's pose, some people find they can bring their hands back beside their feet, palms facing up. Breathing into the back of the body, noticing the breath movement, the sensations in the back of the body. And then we'll bring the arms forward again. We'll round the spine up from child's pose, cat pose, and into cobra. If you can't come all the way into cobra, just come part way. Make sure your back feels safe. Inhale and then exhale back into child's pose. And you can try this a few times, rounding the spine up from child's pose, cat to cobra. And inhaling and exhaling and going back. Inhale deeply, exhale, round the spine up from child's pose, cat to cobra. And then inhale and exhale and release back. And then when you come back this time, take a few breaths in child's pose. You can leave the arms forward. If your neck is more comfortable with it forward, the arms forward, or you can bring them back beside the feet. And take a deep inhalation and exhalation breath. And then we can come forward. And we'll take the right foot forward for lunge pose. Inhale deeply and exhale here, and you might come up in upright lunge. If you can, bring your arms up. Deeply inhale and exhale with the front of the left thigh release. Bring the hands down. We can try reverse lunge to stretch through the right leg and let the head drop. Feel the movement of the body as you breathe. When we inhale, we often bring ourselves out of the posture a bit, and as we exhale, we deepen in. And then coming forward, we'll take the right foot back and bring the left foot forward in lunge pose. We'll inhale deeply and exhale in lunge, and then coming up and coming onto the, bring the hands onto the left leg, or you can bring your arms up and feel your breath as you inhale and exhale. Drop into the right thigh. And then bring the hands down And we'll come into reverse lunge, allowing the head to drop and the neck to release. And then coming back. And then we'll bring the feet back to cat pose, knees back to cat pose, the spine rounds up and dips down. And rounds up and dips down. We can add some standing postures now from lunge. We'll take the right foot forward again. Inhale deeply and exhale. It's very helpful to repeat postures in yoga practice. It allows us to deepen our experience of the poses, to feel the breath more deeply, inhaling, exhaling. And we'll bring the hands down. You take the back foot to the toes under and lengthen back through the back knee as you exhale. And then you can turn your back foot so the foot comes to the floor, and you might bring your left arm over in side lunge pose. Exhale, lengthen out through the left hand and back through the left leg. And then we'll come down, releasing to the floor, and we'll take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee and turn to the left. And right now my left knee is still on the floor. If it seems okay with you, bring the left knee off the floor. Inhale deeply and exhale. Your right arm can come into the room. Breathe out through the right arm and back through the left heel. And then bring yourself down. Release to the floor. And bring your right foot back. And I'll show that same thing on the left side when I turn towards Betty. Take the left foot forward. Allow the right thigh to stretch. Exhale and come up. And then bring the arms up. Inhale deeply and exhale, dropping into the front of the right thigh. A few breaths. And then you can bring your hands to the floor. Take your right toes under. Exhale back into your right foot. Then you might bring your right foot to the floor and your right arm over. Lengthen back through the right leg and out through the right arm. And then bring the hand down. Right knee back to the floor. We'll come back up again. And then you're going to turn to the left and take the right elbow on the outside of the left knee and drop the hips forward for a moment, breathing. And you might stay here. If this is okay, you want to go a little further, you can take your right toes under. Exhale, take your right knee off the floor. The left arm can come over. Inhale, exhale through the left arm and the right leg. And then we'll come down, release the hands to the floor, the left foot back. I'm going to turn back again. And then you can see about downward facing dog pose. And lengthen back. And downward dog, coming to the knees to the floor. And we'll come back to child's pose. This child's pose we'll do a little differently just to see what happens. We'll bring the knees a little bit apart and then let the head drop forward. And breathe into the lower back and into the pelvis. Arms can be forward or back beside your feet. See where you feel breath movement. Allow the body to drop to the ground. And then we'll come up again. We'll try pigeon. So one way of coming into pigeon is to take the right knee to the right wrist, angle the foot across in front of the left hip, and then drop forward. Sometimes that is very uncomfortable on the right knee, and when that happens, you may need to sit on your mat, drop your knees to the right, and then come into what we call is pinwheel. You have to be really mindful of the knees in any of these postures. So if the knee is uncomfortable, then do pinwheel. So the right knee is to the right wrist, the foot is in front of the left hip, and extend the left leg back, and then dropping forward. And again, take some breath, deep inhalation breath and exhalation breath. Breathe into the pelvis, let the hip drop. And then you can see about coming back up into upright pigeon pose, inhaling into the belly, rib, chest, exhale. People who are more experienced with yoga, you might want to try catching your back foot, bending your knee, and bringing your foot to your hand to your foot, and as you exhale, press your foot into your hand. And then we'll release, coming back. And I'll show you from the side here. We're going to take the left knee forward, the right leg back, and drop forward. If this bothers your left knee, you sit on the floor with your feet out, bend your knees to the left, drop them to the left, and you come over, slightly over onto your left leg. If that's okay, extend the right leg back, and then drop forward. And then breathe into the left hip, inhaling into the belly, rib, chest, and exhaling. And then see about coming into upright pigeon posture, lengthening back through the right leg, and then you might bend the right knee and hold the foot and press the foot into the hand in upright pigeon as a back bend. And then we'll come down. Releasing back. We'll try cat pose again, rounding the spine up and dipping down. And downward facing dog pose. And then in downward dog, we can try taking one leg up. So what I did there is I stepped my left foot towards the middle of the mat more, and then I exhaled and extended back through the right leg. And then you can switch legs, bend the right foot to the floor, and inhale deeply and exhale and take the left leg up and back. Take a few deep breaths. And try the first side again. Take the right leg up and back. Turn it out this time. And see if you can feel as you breathe here that the breath moves the body. We take time. Posture time is measured by our breaths and by the sensations of the body as it releases. Then we'll come down again and releasing. And then this time for downward facing dog pose, we're going to try a shorter version, and I mean the distance between our hands and feet will be a little shorter. So you bring your hands a little closer to your knees, and maybe try cat pose here. See what you feel. I feel it's a stronger stretch, more satisfying stretch for my lower back. And then we're going to take the toes under here, and you'll come into a shorter version of downward facing dog. A lot of people find this to be very strong on their hamstrings. Dropping the head, letting the neck release. And then you can walk your feet forward, your hands back, so you're in standing forward bends. Inhale and exhale, and let the head drop, release the neck. You may want to fold your fold your arms and hold your elbows. And take a breath. Let the body hang loose. If your lower back is very sensitive, you can bend your knees.
and let your body be supported by your legs. Sometimes people can do that for a breath or two and then they straighten their legs out. And then we're going to come up, round up as you exhale. And we'll stretch up and back in a standing back bend as a counterbalance. In our practice, we're trying to explore grounding, the movement of breath that supports grounding, mindfulness that supports grounding. So feel your inhalation breath and your exhalation breath as you stand in mountain pose. Bring your attention to the right leg and the right foot and let them descend into the ground. And bring your attention to the left leg and the left foot. And then feel both legs and both feet and let the spine release. We're going to try a variation of a posture called half moon pose. Sometimes people need a block for their hands. You can use a yoga block if you have one, and if you don't, you can use a folded blanket, a large book maybe. So I'm going to keep it handy. So for half moon pose, the way I find is interesting to get into this posture, so draw forward in standing forward bend. And bring your hands to the floor. If that's not possible, bring your hands to the block. Okay, and take a few deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to take one leg up and back. So I've lifted my left leg up and back, and I'm going to put the block away. And then with the left leg, as you exhale, elongate back through that left leg. Inhale and release, and exhale and lengthen, and then maybe the left arm will release forward as an extension of the left side ribs. And then we'll bring the left hand down and the left foot down. What happens with balanced postures is people sometimes get rather anxious about having to balance, and then we tense up. Let's try the right leg, so we'll stand on the left foot, extend the right leg back, inhale and exhale, and see about lengthening back through the right leg and out through the right arm. And then bring the hand down and the left foot down. And we'll bend the knees, exhale, and roll up to standing and stretch up and back. So balance comes from extension and not from contraction. And that's definitely a metaphor for life, right? If we are stressed and anxious, we have a choice. We can contract or we can expand. And we can move forward outwardly into our world and explore the meaning of our tension, or we can contract inward. I find balance is a lot easier if I extend. So we'll try that again with half moon pose. We'll inhale, exhale, and you can draw forward. Use the block if you need to. Your hands to the block or the floor. Let your head drop, let your neck release. And then we're going to take the left leg back, turn it out. Exhale down through the right leg, out through the left leg. And you don't have to bring this left hand off the floor at all. In fact, your balance pose might be the a 3-point half moon pose, as opposed to the hand and foot on the floor. Your half moon may still have the fingertips of the left hand on the floor. Now you can bring it up and lengthen out through the left side of the body. Balance is coming here from extension and not contraction. And then we'll bring the left foot down. We'll try the right side. Inhale, exhale, take the right leg up, turn it out. Find that feeling of extension, of moving out through space into that unknown area behind our right foot. And then exhale and lengthen out through the right arm. You can keep the right fingertips on the ground. They do not have to come off the floor at all. And then slowly bring your right hand down, your right foot to the floor. Bend the knees again. We'll exhale and roll up and lengthen up and back. So balance postures come from elongation, grounding, extension, and not from contraction. So feel your feet on the floor in mountain pose again, dropping into the ground through the soles of the feet. And then we're going to come into widest stride forward bend. We'll separate the feet about one leg length apart. We turn the outer edges of the feet so they're parallel to the outer edges of our mats. And we're going to inhale and exhale and drop forward. If you need a block here for your hands, you can have a block, a pillow. If you feel very tight today, you might have a chair, but it should be braced against a wall instead of just in the room so it doesn't slip. And then you can drop forward in widest stride, standing forward bend. Inhaling here and exhaling, letting the head drop and the neck release. If your spine feels okay here, you want to challenge your shoulders. You can see about interlacing your hands and stretching into your wrists. If that feels very awkward and you have a yoga belt or a bathrobe tie belt or something, you can use the belt between your hands. Releasing the hands. Walk the feet back to the center. I think that's a really good practice for the toes and the soles of our feet. And this time we're going to come down into squatting posture. So squatting pose can be strong on our knees. If it is, you might also want to block here under your hands and slowly bring yourself down to the position that's comfortable and okay for your body. You might not be all the way down, you might be halfway down. If you can come all the way down, that's fine. Let your head drop, release your neck, feel your breath. And then we're going to come into sitting on the floor. And we'll try some twists. Twists are really good, they say in yoga practice. They're supposed to be good for digestion and they release back muscles. So I'm going to sit on the floor with the feet out in front. And we'll see about taking this left foot beside the right hip and the right foot over to the left. We're going to inhale and exhale and turn to the right. So you can turn the spine and then bring your hand to your left arm to your right knee to support the twist. And as you inhale, you can release out of the twist and exhale and come into the twist. Allow the breath to deepen the posture for you. And then we'll come out, change sides, we'll bend the knees, bring the right foot beside the left hip, the left foot on the outside of the right leg. Inhale and exhale and turn to the left. Take the right arm across. Let your spine turn to the left and then have your arms support you. You can inhale out of the twist and exhale into the twist. And feel the movement of the breath in the body. And then coming back to the center, and we'll extend the legs. Another twist to try is called bowing to the earth. And this one, we bring the hands to the right and turn towards the right side. Walk your hands around, but you're trying to keep the left hip on the ground. I tend to feel this in my upper back, mid to upper back. We'll inhale, come up, Pause in the center for a moment before we go to the left. Inhale, exhale to the left. And we'll come over to the left with the hands, rotate the spine, drop the head, and let the right hip stay on the ground. Take a breath. Back to the center. And then it's actually a good idea at times to sit on a blanket or cushion in yoga if your hips are particularly stiff. We're going to bring our feet together for butterfly posture, bound angle pose, it's also called. And let your knees release. If you have pain or discomfort in your knees, you can bring a block under the uncomfortable side. Some people will need 2 blocks. And then you can hold your feet and see about letting your head drop and your neck release forward to stretch the inner thighs. As you inhale, you might lift the spine. Exhale, feel the spine drop. And then coming up, and then we'll stretch the leg out. So wide angle sitting posture, if you bend the knees and then drop forward, this is sometimes more accessible and gives more release to the body than trying to do this with legs straight. You can inhale and lift, and exhale, allow the breath to drop you. We're just letting the breath move the body here. And if that seems okay, you can start to straighten your legs. And you might be able to straighten them completely and then drop forward. And then slowly come up. And then we're going to come onto the floor for bridge posture. So we're going to bend the knees and have our feet on the floor and take your yoga block near you. I'll try to not get in Betty's way. So we're on the floor with knees bent and feet on the floor, and the feet are at least hip width apart, if not slightly wider. And to start with, just feel your breath as you inhale into the belly, ribs, chest, and exhale. And let the belly sink back as you exhale. What we can find in breathing that I found so interesting in this practice of yoga is that the breath moves the body. I used to just think that breathing was about oxygen and CO2 exchange. It's so much more than that. Our breathing and how we breathe can release stress from the body. It can tone our core muscles. It can lengthen our spine. And it moves and releases. The rhythm of our breathing can release our pelvis and our head. So we're going to come up into bridge pose. On an exhalation, press the feet into the floor. Let the pelvis and the lower back and the middle back come up into bridge pose. Your arms can be at your sides or overhead on the floor behind you. Whatever is more comfortable, and exhale and come down. And then I found too in this yoga practice that moving into the postures and out of the postures is as equally important and interesting as being in them. So that the whole movement in and out of yoga postures and from pose to pose is a practice. The postures are never static. They're very dynamic experiences based on releasing with the breath. When we're in the posture, there's still that internal deepening and release with the breath. So one of the supported postures that's often really helpful for people is to come up onto a block. Again, you can have a folded blanket, a thick blanket, a cushion. The original yoga blocks were 4x4s, and I have those still. This is one of the newer ones. And then you place the block under the sacrum. Make sure it's not under too far under the lower back. It has to be under the pelvis, the back of the pelvis. And then your arms can just rest, and you rest here and do nothing. And this purpose of the block is it draws the pelvis away from the lower back And as you breathe, the front of the thighs can release. This is where people tend to hold a lot of anxiety sometimes, is in the psoas muscles. It can contract when we're stressed. So take your time in supported bridge pose. Feel the feet on the ground, the shoulders on the ground, the arms, back of the head on the ground. And feel the movement of the breath in the pelvis. And you can scan your body and feel the layers of the front of the body releasing into the block at the back of the body. I'm going to come off the block, but if you want to stay there longer, of course you can. And when you come off the block, you feel your spine resting on the ground for a moment. And then you might draw your knees to your chest and circle them. Feel the back of the pelvis on the floor, releasing it into the ground. And go in each direction. And we can try twisting again in little boat twist. Bend your knees into your chest and take them to the right. Then let the left knee come back and the right leg will follow. Try not to keep the knees together. Creates more tension if we do. Your arms can rest on the floor at shoulder height, and you can take your knees from side to side a bit. Allowing the lower back and the upper back to release. And then when you come back to the center the next time, you can have your feet on the floor for another couple of deep breaths, feeling that the breath can be released. When we hold a lot of anxiety in our body, we may have a habit of just breathing into the chest, restricting the body, restricting the breath. If you're comfortable with your legs extended, you can extend your legs. Stay in the posture. I'm going to get up for a reading from a meditation teacher who I deeply admire, Hatha. So this Vietnamese Buddhist monk. So resting on the ground, feel the support of the earth. We trust the earth here so that we can feel that we can relax and that we know we're going to be okay. So this book is called Blooming of the Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'll read this one exercise. It's called The Joy of Meditation as Nourishment. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. Aware of my body, I breathe in. Relaxing my body, I breathe out. Calming my body, I breathe in. Caring for my body, I breathe out. Smiling to my body, I breathe in. Easing my body, I breathe out. Smiling to my body, I breathe in. Releasing the tensions in my body, I breathe out. Feeling joy to be alive, I breathe in. Feeling happy, I breathe out. Dwelling in the present moment, I breathe in. Enjoying the present moment, I breathe out. Aware of my stable posture, I breathe in. Enjoying the stability, I breathe out. Through this exercise, many people who are just beginning to meditate can taste the pure joy that meditation brings. Moreover, those who have already been practicing for some years can use this exercise to nourish body and mind and to continue further on the path of meditation. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.